Most people think scaling business is about adding more products, more people, more pressure, but Blake did the exact opposite. He dropped every single side hustle, sold everything, and went into one business with no plan B. In this episode, Blake talks about exactly what it takes to scale, how he simplified his life and his business and optimized it for success. If you've ever felt like you're chasing too many things, whether that's in your personal life or your business life, this podcast is for you. Thank you for coming. This is fun. So I know we'll release these different days, but we just had Ben on, who you co-authored a book that's getting released here in a couple days.
That's right.
How did you, Ben's one of my favorite authors. He always has been. I think I've talked about his books and gotten millions of views online about it. How did you end up writing a book with Ben?
Oh man, that's a deep story. So we'll take you back. August 2024, I flew out to Ben's house to propose a business idea to him. Flashback 6 months from that day, I initially reached out to Ben, and we had met through my mission president. So my mission president served in Peru. He came back to Orlando and served within our church, and Ben and him served together in their calling.
Cool.
So I went out to visit him, and Ben and I connected in 2021. So a year ago in August is when I presented the plan. 6 months before that is when I reached out to him. And then 3 years before that is when we met.
Cool.
So when I initially reached out to him, I just said, Ben, I feel inspired to reach out and I just want to be a resource to you. We talked for 6 months from April all the way till August about doing a business. And he was always kind of back and forth because he had so much opportunity.
Yeah.
So many people were like, come write a book with me, come build this business with me. And here I am, just this guy that's just been doing summer sales the last 5 years that's saying, Ben, let's go build a business together.
Yep.
And so I was the least likely candidate of all of his candidates. Flash forward to August, I flew out there and said, just give me one shot to present this idea to you and we could go forward with it or we don't have to go forward with it. And I flew out there and I said, Ben, I think in a world of fluff, your substance, and people need to see your brilliance. And I would love to flood the world with your work. And I would love to create a business around that work where we can help implement your knowledge into businesses. And he'd kind of been on this train of like rapid growth. So impossible goals, 10xing your business. I said, no one's really distilled a framework for scaling. Let us go into the niche of scaling. Let's create a business that solely teaches entrepreneurs how to scale. And he loved the idea. And I said, I think we can build it and make it massive. And he loved the idea of having something on the back of his books. His previous books had been, the back end of his books had been with Dan Sullivan, with Strategic Coach. So it was kind of this intriguing idea of, what if I own the back end this time? So fortunately, he calls it, I created a bigger future for him. And fortunately, it was something that was very aligned with what he said. And he said, okay, let's do the business. So that was the first sell. Sell number 2 was, okay, if we're going to build this business and I'm going to go coach your material, how crazy would it be to ask to help co-author this next book with you? And he was dumbfounded. He's like, once again, I'm 37. I've written multiple books. You're this young summer sales kid. And he said, to be honest with you, it's good strategy, but I can't just give up my audience and my IP. There'd have to be a cost allocated to it. I said, Ben, I didn't come here expecting anything for free. And he said, okay, if you give me $1 million, I'll let you co-author this next book with me. And I was like, all right, let me call my wife. 10 minutes later, I called Ben. I said, we're in, let's roll. And that's how we created what's now scaling.com, which launched 2 months ago. And co-authored The Science of Scaling, which comes out here in 8 days, or whenever you launch, it might already be out by now.
What a gutsy move. But I mean, you got to make them. You got to make them to be able to do it.
It's the only way to go
big. And I mean, time will tell, good decision or not. I don't see how it could be a bad decision.
Not many cons.
Yep, there's not many cons there. Phenomenal author. And having read the book, it's a phenomenal book. So let's jump in. I want to actually go your life first, and then we'll get to the book at the end. Summer sales. How many years did you do summer sales? Pest, solar, all of it. What'd you do?
Yeah, so I did pest control for 5 years, started in 2020, mid of COVID.
Cool.
It was amazing. Had an awesome first year. Went out and sold a lot personally.
Yep.
When I came back, I was like, man, how do I go big with this? And started recruiting. And within a couple of years, we had a 8-figure organization with 200 to 300 reps, and it was amazing. It was like the best learning platform for my life on leadership, management, negotiations, communication. And felt like I got a PhD in each one of those categories.
I know a lot of people that do summer sales, went to BYU. I don't know why. I feel like freaking BYU is just a breeding ground for summer sales.
No doubt.
But I don't think there's a more condensed approach where in 3 months you can get a better education. And I've said that. I know I didn't sell. I played ball at BYU. Obviously didn't have the opportunity to step away for 3-4 months. But every single person that I know that went and did it and could stick it out and do it, and it's a grind. It is hard. But the lessons you learn, like you said, are absolutely incredible and can serve you in any career you do. And then you took it a step further and started recruiting and building a team around it. And so you do that multiple years. You're leading hundreds of people. Are you coaching, training? Like last year, what does your summers look like? Are you knocking doors?
Not knocking doors. After my first summer, I actually never went out and knocked full time ever again, which was a blessing. My role then became kind of just leader of leaders.
Yep.
So how could I continue to develop and manufacture more and more leaders? Because really summer sales comes down to how good are your leaders and how good is your leadership. And so everything was coaching and developing leaders, recruiting new leaders, and then looking for the future leaders.
That's cool. And then how has the transition been going from summer sales to consulting businesses? Has there been transferable skill sets? Has that been a learning curve? Was it fairly easy? What's been the transition to scaling.com?
So the unique thing about summer sales is you're not building something from scratch. As you know, as you own multiple businesses, there's a big difference between, being an entrepreneur within an organization and truly starting your own company from scratch. And so that's been an absolute wake-up call where we've gone from 0 to 1 rather than summer sales is probably more like 1 to 2.
Yeah.
And so people don't quite understand how much actually goes into creating a business. All the little details that are required, from legal to finances to ops to customer service to the processes, systems, and people that are required. And so that's been amazing to learn in a massive transition, because before my role was very clear. There was only a couple things needed to do. Now it's, any given day, there could be multiple different hats that I have to put on in order to help further the company's growth or success. The goal over time is to have less of those hats. So that's been a massive transition. As far as consulting and coaching, sales is an amazing foundation for that. Being able to listen, being able to ask the right questions. I think good coaching is truly being able to show up and be present and helping someone guide through the right questions to the answers that they have without telling them. And a lot of people think coaching is knowing the answers. I actually don't even know if I know. I think a lot of information I don't know, and I don't have a lot of the answers. But I love the skill of being able to help somebody find their own answer. And that's been really good from a sales foundation to have those skills. But the change has been, rather than telling somebody, help them find it, which is not sales.
There is a vast, vast difference between a coach, a leader, and a mentor. And I feel like most business owners don't differentiate and know the difference. True coaching is a skill set that can be taught and learned that very few have. And I'll raise my hand and say, I was not a coach 2 years ago. I was a leader, I was a mentor, I ran companies, had employees, I did it. I was not a coach. And it wasn't until I invested in a coach and a leadership and a mentor that someone could sit there and help me fine-tune the skills of being a real coach. And in my opinion, having a real coach around you 24/7 is more powerful than a leader and a mentor, because they help you self-identify. And I love what you just said. You don't have all the answers. Most coaches don't. Okay, most coaches don't have the answer, but they teach you the skills and help you self-identify the skills that you need to learn so that you can go out into the real day and actually do it. Because you'll never have a mentor with you 24/7. You'll never have a leader 24/7. But a coach can equip you with a skill set through questions. And so I think what you said is extremely profound, that a lot of business owners underestimate. And it's not it's difficult to learn, but it's not complicated. Good books, good mentors, good coaching, good systems. I never paid for any of it the first 2 years of business. And I grew up and my dad would always say, there's 2 ways to learn: counsel or consequence. And that whenever I heard that, that means I really screwed up and he was about to lay into me. But now it means even more, because so many business owners elect to choose consequence day in and day out, and they won't take the counsel of others and pay for the counsel. If someone's already been through the path, why wouldn't you pay for it? And so I love what you guys are building for that exact purpose. Is there's a massive void of good coaches for business owners. And from what I know of you and what I know of Ben, you guys are creating something that is needed in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much. That's well put, my friend.
So
thank you.
I'm excited to kind of hear about it. So the book, Science of Scaling, was he already in the process of writing this book when you show up? Or to walk me through, whose brainchild is this? How much collaboration is there? I'm more just curious how this kind of happened.
Oh, yeah, great question. So Ben was writing a book called Rapid Transformation at the time. And it didn't have chapters quite yet, but the idea and kind of the beginning frameworks were identified. And so absolutely Ben's brainchild. And when we really decided to go this route towards scaling, it shifted it drastically, because before it was how to create rapid transformation, which is vague. It could be in your personal health, in your marriage, in your business, et cetera. And we said, we just want to go business. And so it went from vague to specific. And immediately when that happened, the title transformed. We actually changed the title a couple of times. We went into hyperscaling. We went into the psychology of scaling, and ultimately ended up choosing the science of scaling. And so Ben is the master. He is a genius. He is the writer. I like to say maybe I helped refine the thinking, and we would talk all day, every day. I mean, it's crazy what goes into a book. There was maybe some chapters, 50 different versions of that chapter. And, when you do that over six chapters or 8 chapters, an intro and a close, it's extensive. And I saw the whole process from A to Z. And it was not only rigorous, but beautiful to see the upgrade every time. And yeah, it was amazing. But I don't want to take credit for anything except helping refine the thinking and giving important feedback and adjustments.
Yeah, for sure. Inside the book, my favorite concept, actually, let me flip it before I give you mine. What is if you were to self-identify, there's 6 chapters. What do you think is the most misunderstood, and what do you think is your favorite topic inside the book?
I would say the most misunderstood is my favorite topic, and the most misunderstood is raising your floor. Mm-hmm. I felt like you were going to say this.
I've handed this book out to probably 10 people, and every single one comes back with that one. So I knew
everybody
it was coming.
Loves that. So here's the interesting thing about raising the floor is we believe that the number one bottleneck to scale is actually self-honesty. And as entrepreneurs, oftentimes we have so many different things that we're either justifying or kind of stretching to say that this really serves a greater cause or a greater goal. And what raising the floor specifically did for me in my own life was really point out all the things I was doing that was optimizing things that shouldn't exist. For example, flashback a year ago, I had a real estate business I was really working on scaling. I had my door-to-door business. I was doing podcasts and content creation. I owned like a podcast studio. I was trying to do so many different things at once, thinking I can put the right person in place. Mm-hmm. But to what end? And so when I got really clear on a new future, which was we want to build a business that impacts millions of lives, and we quantify that by doing $100 million of annual revenue in 3 years. That's our impossible goal. The moment I set a new goal, my floor raised and everything got stripped out. I have none of the things that I had a year ago, and everything that I was spending time on a year ago, I'm no longer spending time on today. And that new goal forced me to be honest. And the floor raise actually simplified my life and gave me the freedom that I didn't know I needed / wanted.
I think the concept of the floor, it's funny, I actually didn't know the history of the book. And so it's funny that it started as personal and then eventually went business, because the theory of the floor, I took more personal than business. There are 1,000 business applications to it. But as I look back at my life in the last 3 years personally, like I hadn't posted a video on social media in 10 years. Like I didn't do social media. I didn't do content. I was running a mortgage business. I was still personally originating loans in the weeds. And I love mortgages and I love Fulcrum Home Loans and what it did. But as I started to scale and more entities, more companies, more influence, more travel, all that kind of stuff, I had to say no to stuff. And it was hard, and I called it a standard, and a lot of businesses will call it a standard of excellence or a standard of expectations. But it's hard to step away from a version of yourself that you built. But that floor, when you raise that floor, I explained this with Ben a little bit. I wish I had a whiteboard, but I firmly believe every single human being has the same ceiling. Okay? Now, some people can get there a whole lot easier than other people. I don't want to take into step away from the idea of privilege, because privilege does exist. It is easier for some to get to that ceiling than other people. Okay? I 1,000% believe privilege exists, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I believe everyone can get there in some way. And the differentiating factor between the ones that live at peak, and that I'm not talking necessarily money or business. It can be life and happiness and family and joy and spirituality and mental health, whatever it is, whatever your thing is. They've raised their floor so far that they're just sitting up here vacillating between a tiny little thing. And everyone looks at it as like, wow, they're so good, or they're so lucky, or so many things went their way. What they didn't see is that floor was raised because they said no to things over and over. They chose to eat the right food and to wake up and work out and to put God first and to meditate and to sleep good and they just keep going and going. And every single one of those just raised that floor a tiny bit, and they're saying no to something every single time until they're just sitting up here. And then everyone else around them calls it luck. Everyone else around them calls it something else. But they went through the effort of raising that floor. And I'd never heard it explained that way. And reading this book, I was on a flight back from, I think, Atlanta. I'd just spoken on a stage with Kevin Hart and Dave Portnoy. It was one heck of a stage. It was a weird one. I don't know why I was on that stage. But
cool.
And I was reading this book, and I hit that, and I just set the book down and just started thinking about it. That concept of a floor, I think, is extremely profound. And it is one of the biggest misconceptions around business and personal life that I think are going to resonate with. So well done to both of you, because every person I've handed this book to has absolutely loved that concept.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm interested to hear, how has it affected you personally?
Personally, you're a coach. Good question. Personally, it's made it easier to say no inside of my business. My personal life, I feel like I've gone through the refiner's fire the last 2 years. In my business, we're still going through it, and we always will. Saying no to the things that are my comfort zones, that bring quick cash, that are easy, that we can rely on.
Good.
So that we can go hit that impossible goal. And I think that's the fact that everyone needs, is being able to say no more.
Ben put it this way to me the other day. He said, in order to ever get to the big fish, you have to let go of the small fish. And that's the hardest thing. It's the quick, easy cash. It's the money that's coming in. It's like, oh, if I let go of this, are we going to be able to make it? It's like, well, if you never let go of it, you'll never get to where you want to go. So Well done.
Inside of scaling.com, what is your perfect client? Meaning, what do you guys say? You're letting go of the little fish, you have a big fish. You want to get to 100 million in revenue, annual revenue. What is your big fish? Who's your perfect client that could walk through the door that you think, if this person walks through the door, I can transform their life? I guarantee it.
Yeah, I love the question. It's less about tangible metrics and more about the attributes and the mentality that they show up with. And so you give me the business owner at 500,000 of revenue or 10 million of revenue. If they have these attributes and this mindset, they will scale. Number one, they're willing to take all sacred cows and put them on the altar, meaning there's nothing that they're willing to not give up. Mm-hmm. All the time in business, we have attachments. It could be an employee because we just love them, but they're just not the person that should be in that role, or you should have even ever hired them in the first place. So if you have attachments that you're not willing to let go of, oftentimes those are going to be the very cruxes to you being able to scale. Second, everybody has, it's easy for everybody to set an impossible goal. Everybody has goals. The distinction is, can you truly operate from the goal in everything that you do? And there's a very clear distinction here. A lot of people come into our program and they have the goal. I would say a lot of them aren't truly operating from the goal all the time. Anytime that you make a decision in your business, it should be operating from the goal. Every time you make a hire, it should be operating from the goal. Every time you make a pivot or some kind of strategic play, should be operating from the goal, not towards some short-term goal or not towards some short-term game. If you can keep the long game in mind, you'll make way better decisions. And then I would say lastly, they're willing to be honest and transparent, because oftentimes we're optimizing for things that maybe we don't want to actually confess to. Sometimes we keep, for example, sometimes myself, I wanted to keep my podcast or Instagram stuff going because it made me look good, or it optimized my brand and what people thought of me. But if you asked me, I would have said, no, it helps me get more leads and so on and so forth, right? This was me personally.
Yeah.
But a member that can come in and just be really honest and transparent can move very quickly, as long as they're operating from the goal, as long as they have no sacred cows or attachments that they're not willing to let go of.
Yeah. I think everything that you just said, I run a financial page, and we consult on finances constantly, and it's a very similar, in every aspect of your life, it's the exact same thing.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people have seen what you've done, which has been a phenomenal pathway for you. It's been like the most extraordinary pathway and leverage for what you've done. Say, oh, I'm going to go copy the same pathway, but it's just not created equal for everybody.
Yep.
So.
Yep. 1,000%. So inside the book, you talk about the simplicity of simplifying a system, and that's how you actually scale. Inside your personal life, are you still running real estate? Are you still running everything? Like, talk to me about your journey of simplicity to get to this point, and where is your time, dedication, everything going right now?
Great question. So when this opportunity with Ben became solidified, and we had this new goal, like I said, my floor raised. And so I went to the podcast studio I own. I said, hey, I got to get out of this. So I sold that. I went to every real estate property that I had and listed it and sold every single one. I went to my door-to-door business and I said, hey, I'm not sure how we want to go about this, but I'm moving on to a new opportunity. And so created a structure where I'm no longer involved within that business. Paused any content creation or podcast, got rid of different coaches that I had because they were now below the floor in different programs that I was involved in, the books that I was reading. I moved houses because I went to my wardrobe and I said, okay, I need to simplify my wardrobe. And so I went very nitty gritty. I got rid of my dog because it was taking too much energy. Dang. And so I really went from everything in my personal life, in my business life.
You blasted online.
And I rid it all, which may not be the best advice, but I got very aggressive also.
Yeah.
That I could go all in on one thing, which is scaling.com. And I have no other energy or commitments or priorities that are outside of that or that doesn't optimize for the goal. And I think that's been the way that I've simplified.
Of the people that you've started to consult with and run this company, what are the biggest, quickest wins you've seen from them?
I would say one is recognizing that all of us are just one person away from a massive 10x jump. And so we've got a client who actually lives here in Utah. He recognized that really the big way to go from here to here is just finding bigger leverage. And oftentimes that leverage comes through people. And so for me, for example, my leverage was Ben. My 10X jump was partnering with Ben, right? For him, he owns a swag company. He created a strategic partner that one strategic partner brought in what his biggest months of revenue was up to that point. And so they were a third party that referred him business. And last month, he just doubled his monthly revenue by one partnership. And so the quickest wins people can deploy is go identify the people or partnerships out there that you're not currently partnered with and go create a partnership with them. However that looks like, go create a win-win. And just simply by enabling or enlisting the right who's or the right partners, is the easiest way to go get a massive uptick in your business revenue, profit, or whatever you're looking to increase.
I think the times in my life that I've been willing to go find that who is, and it's one of my favorite parts of the book at the very beginning, setting a goal so unrealistic you don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
When you think I need to 2 times my revenue, it's just 2 times everything that I'm currently doing. When you say I have to 10 times my revenue, and not only that, I have to do it in the next year, it's like, shoot, I can't do it.
You're right.
I can't do it. And so you get to go back to the drawing board and find those who's. And so you always hear like the cliche, the 5 people you surround yourself or who you turn into and all this kind of stuff. But I think networking is a tangible skill that people don't actually know how to do. What do you feel like inside of your network, networking into Ben, getting this opportunity, networking to these business owners? If you were to boil down networking, how have you been able to get in these rooms, and what skill set or practical takeaway information can you give someone to expand that network, to find that one who?
When it comes to networking, go in with this one mentality. I'm going into this relationship to give, not to get. Mm-hmm. And it sounds so simple, but I'm telling you, I want to further my relationship with Braden. I am going to think about, how can I give more to Braden? What is Braden optimizing for, and how can I help him close the gap to getting there with my leverage, knowledge, capital, abilities, whatever it might be? That is how I'm going to be able to create the best relationship with you possible. It's the same for everybody else. Everyone naturally, because the natural man is a taker, everyone naturally goes into a relationship to say, man, I need to get this, or I need to get a quick win. And that's not the way. And then the second thing is, Nabal said, play long-term games with long-term people. It's very easy in business to burn a bridge or get upset or make a short-term decision. But if you're playing the long game with people, you'll never go wrong, because you will not know what that one relationship for you today might do for you 10 years from now, or that one service or that one phone call or that one thing you did, when that might pay off or when it might get paid up. And when you play long-term games, you put yourself in a position for future leverage.
There's a master class on networking. My uncle, look up to him a ton, extremely successful. And when I was in college, he had a box at the Jazz. And I remember going in, and I walk into this box, and the people in this box, like just name after name after name, the unicorns of the valley. And every single one would come out of their way, shake my hand, say, who are you? I was like, this is my uncle. And every single one of them had a story. Like, I remember going to my first job, I didn't have a suit, and your uncle took me and bought me my suit and said this. And then the next one like pumps up, I remember when your uncle did this, this, and this. And his success, he's extremely smart. I don't want to take away from what he's done in business, but his success is what he did for the people around him. And every one of them remembered it. And he had no intention. He didn't go into it trying to manipulate it either. It was truly from the goodness of his heart. He had no idea they were going to be successful. He's just trying to help every single person get further ahead. And it came full circle. And I feel like networking is exactly that. I think you nailed it, and that's a masterclass.
Dude, I'm inspired by your uncle.
Okay, every single guest that we have, we ask the same 6 questions to at the end of the podcast, and I love it because we've had people worth over $10 billion on the podcast, and we've had people that are just starting business, and it's so fun to see the difference in answers, and there's truth in every single one. So let's rapid fire these. We got a couple minutes, and let's go through it. If you were to give 3 pieces of advice to a business owner who is just starting inside their business, what 3 pieces of advice would you give them?
Number 1, stay focused. It's really easy to get distracted. Number 2, play big and full out. Don't set goals, or don't set your future determined upon what other people are doing.
Write that $1 million check.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Go play big. It's way more exciting, and the reward's much greater. And then 3, true people like gold. People are the way to get to success, to get to culture, and create fulfillment in your life. And so treat them like gold.
I love that. Okay, if you only had $5,000 to your name and everything else went away, your contacts, your content, your businesses, what business would you start, and how would you scale back up?
I would go out and I would go buy supplies. I'd go buy supplies in a service, call it window washing, call it pest control, and I'd go door to door. And it'd be very low cost capital to go up front, and I know that I could take my skill set and go sell and drum up a lot of business doing so. And that's what I would do.
Yep. High leverage, high return, low cost in.
Yeah, going back
a whole
to
bunch
the
of
roots.
work. It's back to what you exactly did. Every time I ask this question, everyone's just like, I'd go do my path again. Like Ben was like, I'd go write some articles online. I'm like, figure. Okay, what's the worst investment you've ever made?
Oh man,
I'll let you do best next, but let's start with worst.
I've got 15 of these. So I'll tell you just a short, funny story.
Yeah.
There was this group that reached out that said, hey, we're doing Forex trading and we're just crushing 10% a month, sometimes 12. And I'm like, okay, I'm back from the mission. So I sprinkle in some money. When I say sprinkle, I put in all the money that I had, which was $2,500.
There we go.
And every month I'm getting these reports. Hey, 12%, 13%, 10%. And after a year, I'm like, I've doubled my money. And a couple months after that, there's a big report out that there's this Ponzi scheme, and it ended up being this group. And unfortunately, I fell for a couple more of those after, but that was the start.
Dang. Okay, what's the best investment you've ever made?
Best investment I've ever made, it's already paid off, is $1 million to Ben. Secondary to that is anytime I've invested into accelerating a skill set through someone either teaching me or showing me through coaching.
Yeah. Okay. If you could not go outside of your industry, what are you most excited about from an investing perspective? Where would you, if you had to write a single check and put all your money in a single industry outside of your core competency, where would you write it?
I would write a check today with private equity here in Utah. I think the talent here is exceptional. The ideas that come out of here are incredible, and the leadership here is just unbelievable. And I think betting specifically on Utah entrepreneurship and companies that have proved themselves is a very worthwhile investment and would yield high ROI.
I was with your good friend Thomas this morning, actually,
were you?
and that's his exact business model.
Yeah.
And there's actually studies to back that up.
You're right.
It's the unicorns per graduate at BYU, University of Utah, are some of the highest in the world, country.
Wow.
It's absolutely incredible, the businesses that come out of Utah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, looking back, last question, looking back at your journey, is there anything you would have done differently?
I would have played bigger sooner. Todd Peterson, one time, the owner of Vivint, he was asked the same question. And Todd, by the way, he's played as big as almost anybody. Yep. And he actually said the same answer. And the reality is we don't know what we don't know, but I wish at 20, I said, let's go build a 9-figure business in the next 5 years rather than choosing to do that at 26. And I'm sure I'm going to keep saying that for the rest of my life, but I wish that I dreamed bigger faster, and I hope to continue to close that gap on thinking the biggest that I absolutely can.
I love that. And if I could mimic that and repeat that in every aspect of people's lives. Business, 1,000%.
Absolutely.
Finances, I'm so sick of people just chucking money in 401k and hoping and praying that it will do something. Even if you're not a business owner, find a way that you can think bigger. Health, everything. People are more powerful than they actually think, and they never actually lean into it. So I love that.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. This has been fun. I enjoyed reading your book. It's a phenomenal read. I told this to Ben. I feel like every single book he's written has been topic focused. Who, not how, 10X, gap gain. Like I can go over and over and I'd read it and I'd get something I could apply it. This is the first one he's written with your help where it felt like a holistic approach to business ownership that I think there's a void out there. There are a lot of topic books, but this book was a holistic approach. And so every single entrepreneur, every single business person can pull something out of it because of its holistic approach. So well done.
Thank you so much. That fires me up.
If there was, how can someone get in touch with you? I mean, it sounds like you burn the bridges on social media.
Yeah.
Email, social media, scaling.com. How can someone get in touch?
Scaling.com is best way. Okay. Get our free audiobook on there. And then if not, please reach out to me via LinkedIn. I think it's just Blake Erickson. And I always try to connect with my DMs when I can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're awesome, bro. Appreciate you.
If you love this conversation, you're going to love my conversation with Matt Ishbia. Click here to watch it.